Good morning, Unity. We are here to discover our power, yes? We've been on this journey for 3 weeks now. The first week, we talked about this idea of discovering our power. Because so many of us are conditioned that our source is out there. Our source of good is somewhere out there. It's not accessible to us. It's somewhere distant from us. And you might call it God. Maybe God is source, but God is out there and we have to plead to God to beg for mercies. You might have that experience of it. Or you might think our source is our job or our friends to keep us happy. Or right, our source is somewhere out there. And what we're discovering is that our source is not out there. Spiritual power, our true power, is not acquired. It's not granted. It's not gifted. Our true spiritual power is discovered within us. You're not lacking power. We just need to uncover it. We need to discover it and then claim it. And that was our second week, claiming our power. Because this awareness moves from potential to actually power within us when we claim it. When we say, yes, this is who I am. I am light, I am love, I am joy, I am zeal, I am enthusiasm, I am peace, I am strength. When we claim that as an innate power, it becomes real for us. And that potential then becomes expression within us. Now, the next step is to live it. It's not enough just to know about it and to think about it, but we need to begin to put it into action in our life. We need to then express it in our life and allow it to move in and through us. So living our powers is like choosing alignment over reaction. There are a lot of things that we can react to in the world, yes? There's a lot of things on a daily basis when we wake up that there are things that we are going to react to. So living our power is choosing to pause and align ourselves before we respond. Living your power is choosing faith over a consciousness of lack and limitation. Choosing faith and understanding over our victimness. Now, spiritual power, the real power within us, comes alive when we begin to live it, when we begin to express it, and then it becomes embodied in our daily life. And as Lisa said at the beginning, it's the practice, people. Did I get that right? How was that impression? It's the practice, people. I don't think I have the accent quite right. It's the thank you for your confidence. It's the practice. It's the daily practice. It's putting into practice. It's making that conscious step. I'm going to live this in this moment because there's only this moment. Did you know that? Yes. Yeah. So practice it right now in this moment. Spiritual power becomes real when we begin to live it. It becomes part of us, and as we do it over and over again, it becomes embodied and anchored within us. Living your power is how the world changes, one consciousness at a time. Whose consciousness do you have control over? Yours. As much as I would like to think that I have some sort of influence over your consciousness, I really don't. Now, I've had some people, we've talked about this, I've talked about this before with different people. It's like, you've read that one book and all of a sudden that book changed your life, yes? You've done one practice and that practice changed your life, or you heard that one talk by Reverend John Riley, and of course, that talk changed your life. But the truth is, that talk did not change your life. You changed your life. The book, the spiritual practice did not change your life. You changed your life by practicing, by putting it into action within you. Because only you can change you. Only you have the power to believe in, accept, to practice, to put those activities and actions into practice. Living your power is how the world changes, one consciousness at a time. As we live into this consciousness that we begin to shine that light into the world, and we begin to model that for other people. And that consciousness, that activity is it multiplies. It multiplies. Now, I think it's important to understand this idea of power as we move from insight to embodiment. I like the book that describes this very well, the book Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins. And he talks about the idea of how humanity, how we kind of get stuck in thinking the idea of power, but really applying this idea of force. And when he talks about force, he talks about the idea of manipulation, pressure, coercion, and effort. Anybody ever feel those in your lives before? Yes, and how did you like it when it happened? Not so much. So the idea here is that that's force being applied. Force pushes. Force resists. Force argues. Force reacts. And force tries to control outcomes. Power, on the other hand, true power, aligns. True power attracts. True power influences. True power radiates and flows naturally from truth. True power is where you're more conscious of how you're living your life. So think about this. Where in your life, just think about it for a moment and allow those ideas to come. Where in your life are you using force over power? Where in your life are you trying to manipulate or control someone else? Now, there's a subtle difference between manipulation and influence, yes? We've had this discussion before, and someone asked me, what's the difference if I'm trying to influence somebody? Well, if my intention to influence somebody is to change their opinion, that's force. If my intention is to influence somebody by being the presence and power and being a role model and allowing them to go on their journey, then we're a positive influence for them. And to me, that feels more like power. So where in your life are you using force more than power? Because we do. So just notice that. Notice when you are connecting with that. Living your power is releasing forcing. Living your power is releasing those ideas of manipulation and pressure and coercion and effort. Releasing the ideas of resistance or pushing or trying to be right or trying to control outcomes. Living your power is simply that practice of non-resistance. And non-resistance doesn't mean we accept what's happening. It simply means I'm not going to allow what's happening to rule my life, to take over me, to bring me into my dark side. I'm not going to give my power over to whatever's happening. I'm just simply saying this is what is in this moment, as I'm experiencing it, as I'm seeing it, as I'm understanding it. And there's a greater truth in me seeking to be expressed. So living our power is releasing, forcing, and choosing the power within you. So what power is beginning to wanting to come out? Well, if you think about the idea of power as inner alignment, how does power as inner alignment show up? Well, it may show up as inner peace, as a sense of balance, as a sense of presence, non-resistance, as a sense of harmony. So where in your life do you want more inner alignment? What aspects of your life are you seeking more balance and harmony? And where can you intentionally put that focus to be that balance and harmony in those situations? Power in relationships. Power in relationships might be expressed as love, as compassion, as forgiveness, as kindness and connection, generosity. As we look into and experience that power in our relationships, where in your life do you want more compassion and forgiveness and kindness? Where in life do you want to experience more connection, more generosity? And as you find those places, the question is, how can you express more of that in those relationships? How can you be the one to claim that power of generosity and express it? That power of harmony and love, of kindness and compassion, that power of understanding and forgiveness. How can you express that more in your life? Power in living fully. Zeal. We heard about that one. Joy, fun, creativity, curiosity, openness, authenticity. All of these are aspects of expressing that power of living more fully. I want to talk about zeal for a moment because I love this quote that Lisa read from the Daily Word. Charles Fillmore said, in his 94th year, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Can you get a feeling for zeal? Now, the interesting thing about zeal that I think that came to me this morning as I'm listening and feeling this zeal, I think we tend to equate that with, or at least I did, I equated that with everything's happy and joyful. Anybody else have that experience? Yeah, everything's happy. We're zealful. Yoo-hoo! But I think there's a deeper meaning for zeal because it is one of our 12 powers. It is one of those innate abilities that happens. I think zeal is the energy and the passion that we put into things. Period. We can put a lot of zeal into forcing someone else, yeah? We can put a lot of zeal into our trying to manipulate or trying to win over somebody. But we can also put our zeal and that power into the idea of expressing love and kindness and compassion, of being that presence. So zeal as an idea has a very deep meaning. And as we live into that zeal, what is it in your life? What areas of your life do you want to live more fully? What area of your life do you want to live with more zeal, with more energy? What areas of your life that you want to release that you're putting a lot of zeal and energy into? What do we need to step back from and say, you know what? I'm done with that habit. I'm done with that idea. I got to get off of that addiction, whatever that addiction is. We tend to be an addictive creature. We like patterns, and so we get used to things. So which part of those things, what in those lives do we want to let go of, and where do we want to live more fully into? Where in your life do you want more inner alignment? Where in your life do you want to bring forward this sense of groundedness, faith, reliability, gratitude, healing, this inner strength, this strength in spirit? And one of the biggest phrases that I like to say is, it's not a forcing of something to happen, it's an allowing. So living your power is allowing that strength to flow. It's allowing that harmony. It's allowing that inner peace. It's allowing that clarity. It's allowing that authenticity, allowing you to find your authentic voice, to respond rather than to react. It's letting God be God in you. When you live from this place, and you begin to experience it, when you begin to experience a little more inner peace, when you begin to experience a little more kindness, you're being more kind and you're accepting kindness, when you are expressing joy and when you're accepting joy, all of those things begin to multiply within you. And when that happens, it multiplies in the world around you. This is the power that we have. Those things that we think about and give great attention to manifest in our life. That's what we know because it becomes the lens through which we see the world. So when we see the world through a lens of joy and appreciation, we're going to experience more joy and appreciation back. When we look at the world through the lens of authenticity and strength and spiritual voice, through kindness and harmony and compassion, we're going to experience more of that in our life. Force tries to change the world from the outside in. Power changes the world from the inside out. It is contagious. It spreads. So how can we live a little bit more from this experience of peace and joy, or from the experience of our inner power? Whatever that power is, whatever is seeking to emerge in you, that divine essence of God that is trying to come through here. I have 3 practices for us. First, the sacred pause. The sacred pause. Power always appears in the space between the stimulus and the response. When there is no space in between there, we are reacting. And we're almost always reacting from the power of force within us. when we have that sacred pause, we're taking a moment to take a breath, to acknowledge this is what's happening, this is what I heard, here's what I'm experiencing. I'm feeling all the feels, that's okay. But I'm giving myself the time to presence myself. So the sacred pause allows us to breathe and allows that power to emerge. Practice number 2, the sacred presence. In that space of stillness, in that space between the stimulus and our response to it, in that space, God is. In that space lies our ability and our power to draw upon that presence, to become that presence, and to draw upon whatever spiritual attribute that we want. For me and my white stone, it might be strength in the moment, or spiritual strength, or joyful strength. It might be peace. It might be clarity. It might be, what am I really believing or thinking here? In that space, we begin to presence and allow that power to flow. We're choosing that energy. The sacred presence is allowing that idea of let God be God in you, and allow that presence and that power and that whatever that word is for you to emerge within you. So what spiritual quality is seeking to express through you? The sacred pause. What spiritual quality, the presencing and presence, that energy in that moment. And then the sacred action. Putting that idea, that energy into your words, your thoughts, and your actions. I love this quote from the book of James, chapter 1, verse 22. Be doers of the word, not merely hearers who deceive themselves. James just puts it right out there for you, doesn't he? Don't just listen to these things. Don't just think about, oh yeah, that's a great affirmation. I'm going to put it on my wall and read it. Put it into your life and live it. Be doers in the world. Allow that sacred presence to flow into you and through you as best you can. And practice. And practice. When you look at it and you see it, well, that's a good thing. I'm going to use that tomorrow. What do we have right now? The present moment. What do we only have? The present moment. If the idea is coming to you to use that power of forgiveness, let's say, tomorrow, it's time to do it right now. If the idea of expressing that idea of faith and authenticity and voice, I'm going to do that tomorrow. No, do it right now. Take out your notebook, write it down. Bring it to the present moment. Whatever is seeking to be expressed through you has an opportunity to be expressed as you in that moment. Be doers of the world, not just mere hearers who deceive themselves. Let's move to our affirmation, Felix. So today, our practice, we are going to live in that this week. We're going to take that sacred pause. We're going to take that sacred presencing, and then we're going to take that sacred action. Our affirmation today is, today I choose to live from my spiritual power of strength, peace, and presence. Today I let God be God in me. Would you affirm that with me together? Today I choose to live from my spiritual power of strength, peace, and presence. Today I let God be God in me. And so it is. The world doesn't need more spiritual practices. The world needs more people practicing spirituality. Let's take that into our time of meditation and affirmative prayer.